Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up.
Andy, we're getting a new bill, a new $250 bill.
Oh,
What
I
do you think
saw
about
that.
this?
So, and here's the thing, what's his face? Basent, he did the press briefing this week, and he said flat out, he's like, I prepared everything just in case it passes, but I can't do it because it's in the Constitution, and a person that's alive cannot be on a bill.
Yeah.
And he said we have it ready in case the Congress passes something. Never going to get through the Senate. There's no way. So I thought this whole time I thought that they were basically going to try to do some kind of a bypass where they go around
Yeah.
congressional approval. It seems like they're putting it all on Congress to pass, and it seems like the House will pass it. The Senate, I'm thinking no way in hell. So I feel like we're good. We're not going to have a Trump $250 bill. They'll talk about
Okay.
it a lot, but I don't think we're going to have it. So hooray for that. Real quick, I wanted a little bit of good news, I feel like, over the last couple of days. In the first Trump term, everybody always says, well, Trump tried to do all this, but what do they say? The system's held, or I can't remember how they
Yeah.
the system held,
Yeah.
and really most of it failed. The courts were the one area that really kind of held Trump in check last time.
Well,
This time, go
I
ahead.
think that there was people in place that were actually, you know, telling
Okay,
Trump no, right? That's part of the
I will,
system holding, right?
I will give you that. So the courts, and then the people in the White House that were like, "Hey, sir, the court said you can't do this, so you can't do it." This time, he doesn't have those. He's got people around him that are going to tell him, screw the courts. You can do it. That's going to be a problem. But also, like, it kind of seemed like the courts weren't really holding as much for the first year and a half of his presidency, his second term. This week, we've gotten some favorable rulings. I want to take a quick look at them. I don't know a lot about these cases, so I can't go into detail on them, but some good things are happening.
Federal judge temporarily blocks Trump's 1.8 billion slush fund. Okay. Okay. I didn't see that.
Yeah, so and like
Interesting.
I said, I don't know much, and it's just like it's an injunction right now. It's he
Yeah.
blocked it for now while the court case plays out. This is the same fund he originally sued for $10 billion and then made a deal, which they didn't run any of that deal through the judge, which is a key thing here. So this is Peter Baker from the New York Times. A federal judge in Miami makes a striking turnabout, reopening Trump's $10 billion case against the IRS and saying that she wanted to investigate grievous allegations that the hasty deal to resolve it was premised on deception. So basically, they had worked out a deal of, hey, we're going to settle on this $1.8 billion slush fund for weaponization of government, blah, blah, blah. They didn't put any of that in the court paperwork. They just said, we're dropping the case. And then they
Yeah.
did all that on the side. 35 federal judges got together and basically retired federal judges and wrote a letter to this judge and said, hey, this is clearly collusion. And the collusion's the word they keep using. But the two
Right.
sides colluded against each other. They deceived the court and said, hey, we worked it out. We're going to drop it. But
Yeah.
really, they worked it out for a settlement. That settlement should have been put in front of the judge to review and approve. They didn't do that. So
Yeah. Who's the judge? Is it a Trump judge or a?
it is a judge in Miami. You know what? I'm going to say it must be a Republican appointed judge because if it was an Obama judge, he would have said that over and over in the last little bit.
Yeah.
Very much like the next case.
Well, hold on. Before we move
Good.
past that,
Yeah.
I feel like, and it's not being talked about enough, is the other part of that deal, which is that Donald Trump cannot be audited by the IRS for
Not
any of his businesses.
not just Donald Trump, but Donald Trump, his sons, and all of his businesses. And now, here's the thing: I keep seeing people say that they're immune from ever being audited again. Audited again. I'm not 100% on this, but it seems like they can't be audited for anything up until now. So in the future, and people are not reporting this correctly, is what it looks like. And basically, up in everything from now going backward, he can't be audited for. But it does seem like that it's up until now, and then going forward, like next year's tax returns, he could be audited, or anytime in the future.
If he didn't have shady stuff in his past, like why would he need that? Why would he want that?
He
Why would he put
clearly,
that in the deal? Clearly, there's a lot of
yeah.
shady stuff that he doesn't want them to know about. And wasn't there like they don't have to pay taxes anymore?
Well, no, that everybody's saying that because
Okay.
if it was true, which I don't, and I'm not 100% on this, but if it was true that he could never be audited again for the rest of his life, well, then yeah, he could just never pay taxes again, and they could never. But like I said, I think the wording on that's very weird, but it does appear that it's up until today. Like anything from here going backward, he can't be audited on. In
Okay.
the future, he could be audited on a future tax return. I think. I'm 98% sure I have that right, but it's confusing to read. So,
I'm so disappointed with Joe Biden at this point. Like, he didn't bring up the Epstein files at all. He didn't audit Trump. I mean, there were so many things to prosecute him for, and he did not do a damn thing.
well, it's funny. Joe Biden is in a no-win situation because the left is mad that he didn't weaponize the government more. Like they wanted him to weaponize the government against Trump. The right is saying all he did was weaponize the government the whole time. And it's like it's somewhere in the middle, but both sides hate him for either that he over weaponized or he didn't weaponize it enough. Like that's where
Well,
we're
it's
at.
not weaponizing when you're actually just prosecuting somebody who did bad shit.
Well, you said you're mad at Joe Biden, so let me take issue with this. Do you think that Joe Biden should have gone to the DOJ and directed Merrick
No,
Garland to open him?
no.
So is it Joe Biden's fault, or are you mad at the DOJ under Joe Biden, which theoretically Joe Biden should have had nothing to do with?
Well, it would have been Joe Biden to release the Epstein files.
Okay. And at the time, like, go back in time, nobody was calling on Joe Biden to release the Epstein files. There wasn't a big push for that. Like
That's true.
in the run up to the election, that's when people started saying, release the JFK files and the Epstein files and all that. And Trump's side was saying they're gonna do it. There was never people protesting or even being loud on the internet about Biden releasing the Epstein files. Like it was never a thing during his term. So
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
he and all the people around him never said, "Oh yeah, we'll release him," and then failed to. Which, on that note, real quick, Pam Bondi had to go in for her actual deposition today. Which, and I didn't see this until like the last couple of days, but apparently after she left office, she got diagnosed with cancer and has already had treatment. And she walked
What?
into yeah, I just saw
Was
this the
that
last
with
couple
the
of
thing
days.
on her neck?
Yeah, she had some kind of cancer treatment. But she walked in today with a shit-eating grin and a smirk on her face, so I don't feel bad for that woman. But she got in there and refused to go under oath for this deposition, which I didn't think you had a choice. If you're being deposed by Congress, I thought that goes hand in hand that you go under oath. She said she wouldn't go under oath, and her lawyers worked it out in advance that it would not be videotaped. There's a transcript, but if it's not under oath, then what are we even doing? Like, if you say, hey, I'll talk to you, but I refuse to go under oath, that's like you telling me you're going to lie to me. Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to tell the truth, why won't you go under oath? And then, just so you know, she basically said, I ran a real big department and I couldn't manage every little piece of things that were going on. So I had Todd Blanche, who is now the acting AG. She was like, I
Uh,
had him in charge of that, so you need to talk to him. So she totally
oh,
threw him under the bus and said he was in charge of all the release. I didn't really have anything to do with it. Let's flash back to after, a year and a half ago, her saying, I have the files on my desk to review. She's full of shit.
is Todd
Anyhow,
Blanche one of Epstein's clients?
no, he was Donald Trump's personal defense lawyer, and
Oh,
he's
that's right.
he's real good buddies with Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer. So there's
Okay.
yeah. So anyhow, so she threw
Mhm.
him under the bus. We got nothing came out of that today. Um, anyhow, the second thing real quick that a judge did that was awesome, and I'm gonna tell you via Trump tweet. But he said, shockingly, a judge appointed by Barack Hussein Obama, Christopher Cooper, ruled that the Kennedy Center, which was going to close in early July for large-scale renovations and construction due to years of neglect, decay, and poor maintenance, and which was to be transformed by the Trump administration into the finest facility of its kind anywhere in the world, is not allowed to close for these renovations, which would not be possible to do properly without such a closure. Additionally, Judge Cooper ruled that the 36-member board of trustees, which unanimously voted to add the name Trump onto the former Kennedy Center, making it the Trump Kennedy Center, did not have the right to do such an addition, and the name Trump must be removed. So, the Kennedy Center, and the reason for that, and I should have read more about this, but the Kennedy Center was dedicated by Congress in like 1960 something. So it was an act of Congress that created it and named it. Therefore, only an act of Congress can change the name and do
Hmm.
all this other stuff. So hey, we're back. I guess they got to scrape his name off the side of the building, and they can't close it
Win.
down. He said he was gonna tear it down to the bones, like tear it down to the studs, and redo it all. I can't do that either.
How much was that going to cost us?
Oh, I don't know. We're saving money, so thank you to that. Thank you to Judge Cooper. But more importantly, his name is coming. I don't know why. That's like he's doing stuff that legitimately hurts like middle and lower income Americans. But I often get upset about the stuff that really like the name. If he put his name on the Kennedy Center, that doesn't affect me or you at all. But for some reason, like I get upset about that, and it's my TDS coming through, I guess.
Well, it's like him coming over to your house and peeing on your couch and claiming it. Like, this is my couch. Like,
Slightly different, but I get what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah.
he's putting his name
He's
on everything he can.
yeah.
So probably no $250 bill. It looks like the 1.6 or 1.8 billion dollar weaponization fund might be not going to happen. That's still up in the air. Um, and then also on Comey, real quick, Comey, who got indicted for his whole beach shells formation that said 8647.
Yeah.
The judge in that case has been really hard on the prosecution on the government side.
Good.
This is from NBC News. Breaking. Federal prosecutor leading the James Comey indictment over his seashells post resigns from the case. So the head guy in charge of it quit because he realized we're gonna lose this. The judge is all over my ass for what we're doing, and when I do lose, Trump's gonna be mad at me. So I'm out of here. Like he just left. So wait. So and they had trouble finding anyone to bring this case. Like a lot of career like attorneys didn't want to have anything to do with it, and they
Sure.
finally found somebody that was willing to bring it. Now that guy's resigned, so like we'll have to see. We don't know like who's gonna step up and take this case. If you do, it's a no-win situation. If you step up and take this case, you're not going to win the case, and when you lose, Trump's going to shit talk you on Twitter. So that's that's where we're at.
Oh, good. Awesome.
So
Is
that's the
cash
good news.
patel, is the FBI bringing that?
No, that's the Department of Justice.
Okay.
So the FBI, and I'll bet I'm wrong here, but in general, the FBI doesn't bring cases. The FBI does the investigation, makes the arrest, and then hands it over to the Department of Justice, who then brings a federal case.
Okay.
So
I
they
remember
don't.
seeing Cash talk about this, and I was like, is he going after him, or who's going after him?
He was part of the investigation into it.
Yeah.
Like that's how it's supposed to work. Is the FBI investigates an arrest, the DOJ prosecutes.
It took a whole year to investigate one tweet.
And they keep saying that because everybody's like, hold on, wait, this is just about the seashells. And they're like, clearly it's not. We spent a year investigating. We have way more than just the seashells. I'm betting they don't. And I'll bet that's why that guy quit. And maybe we'll be wrong. And maybe they also have emails from Comey talking about taking out, people and higher office.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't want to be later proven
I
wrong.
highly doubt that.
If they have that, then I'm glad they brought the case. Something tells me they don't have that. So anyhow, we do have the courts are doing all right for us right now. We need the courts to keep doing their thing because there's two scary things, or it's mainly one scary thing that's happening. You're familiar with hold on. We've joked before. 20 years ago, if you would have said that, like, yeah, this is my favorite constitutional lawyer, like that would have been an odd thing to say. But now I have like a favorite economist and a favorite constitutional lawyer. When it comes to all the election lawsuits, there's one lawyer that was kicking ass in 2020. Do you remember his name by chance?
Is it the guy that goes on Midas Touch?
Probably. His name's Mark Elias. Is that who you're talking
Oh,
about?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mark Elias. I follow him on Twitter. He's sounding the alarm about a couple things we need to be prepared for and hope that the courts are going to have our back.
The Wisconsin Elections Commission is sounding the alarm about the unusually long time it took for absentee ballots to reach their assigned voters by mail in the state's April primaries. Okay.
So Trump has been talking about trying to do away with mail-in voting, but he doesn't have the power to do that because the states run the elections. Each state decides how their mail-in voting works. He's trying to federally say you can't do that. He can't. He doesn't have the power. He would lose in court. What he can do is control the post office, which would get the mail-in ballots there. So when the counties were sending out their absentee ballots to the people, apparently it took way longer than it should have for them to get there. And we haven't even seen what happens when people try to mail it back yet. That's where the real screwy could go along. So that's just something to be on the lookout for.
Well,
And
the
then,
post office has just been going downhill. I remember when I first moved to Colorado, I was living up in the mountains and I had a PO box, and like it was a shit show to get mail up there. And then now I have to go for whatever reason. My apartment complex has like mail issues, and I've been having to go to the post office, and people will mail me. So I didn't get my birthday card from my mom for like 2 months.
good Lord.
Yeah.
Well, that's one way to kill mail-in ballots is to just kill the post office in general. Cut the
They are.
funding.
They're really killing it. I mean, I've I feel like all my life the post office has been like legitimately on point. They've just been like you mail a letter, it gets there in 2 or 3 days, and that's that. Now it's like for me at least it's just been a nightmare here in Colorado.
Well, and so as a guy who's always lived in a big city, like I want to say 20 years, probably longer than that. Republicans have wanted to do away with the post office, and their thing is the post office is basically it's not profitable. It loses money on the regular. They're basically saying if we took the same amount of money we put into the post office and put it into UPS or Amazon, Amazon's one that's been talked about a lot with Bezos and his connection to Trump, but and just had Bezos run the federal mail pretty much, it would be better and more cost efficient, is what I hear. The flip to that is apparently like people in rural areas, like out in the country, out in the middle of nowhere, like depend on the USPS for their medicine, prescriptions, this and that. And
Hmm.
like if you cut out the USPS, it would really be harmful to old people living out in the middle of nowhere, supposedly. I don't fully understand it all. That's the argument on both sides. So,
Well, and I've heard that if you do away with the USPS and let Bezos or UPS or whoever take over, it's gonna increase the cost of shipping
yeah.
dramatically. It's because they just have the right to raise, they have the, supply and demand.
Yep.
Like how much will people charge? Just like they're charging so much more at the grocery store right now.
Which as someone who rarely mails anything, like what I don't even know what a stamp is now. I think it's like 70 something cents for a stamp.
Hmm. Yeah.
But like I love it when I hear like old people be like, "Oh, stamps went up 3 cents again. This is ridiculous." And I'm like, I think it's crazy that for under $1 I can mail you something like 3 states away. That's
Yeah.
such a good price. But like older people are like, it used to be 40 cents and now it's 70 cents and they're very upset about it. I get it. It's just
Yeah.
I don't mail stuff much. So if you said, "Hey, mail me whatever, paperwork," and it was 76 cents for me to open or mail it to you, I would consider that a very good deal. But like I said, I don't mail stuff often. So, to follow up on the post office, though, this came out a couple days after that first Elias tweet. Breaking. The U.S. Postal Service said in a yet to be published proposed rule Friday that it's drawing up plans to radically crack down on mail voting by sending ballots only to voters who are registered with the federal government. So basically, even if your local county tries to mail you your mail in ballot, if you have not registered with the federal government, the USPS does not have to get the ballot to you.
What?
I don't know if they can do that or not. We need the courts. Like they're going to try to do this at the last minute. There's a reason they haven't published this yet. They're going to try to do this at the last minute so that it gets gunked up in the courts and it can't get through the courts quick enough to get a ruling before
Is
the
anybody registered with the federal government to vote?
not yet, but they're going to try to create a registry. It seems
So they're
like
going to create a registry so that we have to
that's
hurry up, register with the federal government to vote, and then make us register with them.
which that's what he's wanted is a federal registry of active voters, and that would be against everything that our Constitution says about how voting is supposed to go. It's at the state level,
Yeah.
but that seems like this is his get around, and I'm sure lawyers have figured out a way where they think in his mind they're going to be able to legally do this without a court stopping them. I
They
don't
don't
know.
have to go through Congress, right?
It doesn't seem like it. I mean, if the U in general, if the USPS is going to change a rule they have, they just do that. That doesn't have to go through Congress. If you boil this down to its basic level, this is the USPS creating a new rule having to do with mail-in ballots. They don't have to get an approval from anybody theoretically. It's going to Mark Elias is going to challenge it, and it's just a matter of can we get a ruling on this before the midterms.
Crazy. That's
So
crazy. How many days do we have? 158 days till the midterm elections.
yeah, I told you, and this was 2 months ago or so. But I told you, like, what's going to happen is they're going to try to change a lot of rules at the last minute, and then everything's going to be gunked up, and we're not going to know what took effect, what's getting blocked, and they're just going to say, "Up, the midterms don't count. There's too many open court cases," and that's. I think that's the most likely scenario we're going to have here is that they're going to say, "Oh, well, Alabama or whatever state it is, this case is still open. We don't know. We can't possibly unseat this one person and put in the Democrat because the case is still open."
But that's just gonna be obvious, blatant corruption, which is what they've been doing for the last year and a half. So
Hold on,
I,
wait. Are you trying to say that President Trump has done corrupt things? Because I'm not going to
I
stand
would
here. I'm
never say that.
not going to let you. So I never did. We talked a couple of weeks ago about all his stock trades, and I was going to compile all of it, and I never got
Yes.
to it. I didn't.
Oh,
But
damn.
Since that came out, we do have one more new one to add to the list, and this has to do with Dell. Um, it says this year Trump purchased more than 1 million of Dell stock. This week, Trump's Pentagon announced a $9.7 billion contract with Dell. So he was buying $1 million worth of stock, and then has his Pentagon give them a sweetheart deal that's going to raise the value of their stock. Like I don't know how much he made by doing that, but his 1 million in stock just went up considerably because of that new contract they got. So
Yeah, so
it's
that's what he's been doing with all of them, right? He basically he'll like he'll put his money in one stock and then he'll have that person to the White House like that the next day or the following week,
or
and he'll be like, buy Dell, and he's actually on record, buy Dell the day before he put money into Dell. And he did that with Apple. He did that with Nvidia, I think. He
and
did that with like a lot of companies.
in a lot of cases, like there's a company called Eli Lilly where like he bought a crap load of their stock and then the very next day went and toured their like facility and the cameras are all and he was shaking hands with the owner and saying how great the company was and all that and really pumping them up. And we didn't know at the time that yesterday he bought a shitload of their stock. So he, it's like the most basic form of corruption you could possibly have, and he's doing it out in the open. He has to disclose all these trades, and it's just I think Republicans don't care at all. And to be
Well,
honest,
they're
like
all
not,
doing it. That's the thing. Well, you're talking about the voters don't care?
yeah, the voters don't care, but also senators can't do that. Like senators have like ethical, they have to sign ethics waivers and stuff like that. Like for whatever reason, congressmen and senators are held to a higher standard when it comes to stock purchases than the president is. Like, there's a whole lot of rules that only apply to congressmen and senators, but don't apply to the president. Because we just assume, for years, we've just assumed the president obviously won't do that. No, he is. He's doing it all, and there's nothing you can do to stop him. So,
So he executed over 3,700 individual transactions in just the first 3 months of the year.
well, and so the key part about this, and I know nothing about stocks, so I'm sorry for trying to act like I do. Um, Don Jr. came out and said, and he was arguing with somebody on Twitter, but he was like, "Oh, you must be a moron because you think that my dad's sitting there like making these trades himself. No, he has stock people that are doing all this. My dad has no clue what's going on." Well, when you make a trade legally, you have to note if it's what's called an unsolicited trade. An unsolicited trade is where, in this case, Donald Trump picks up the phone and calls his stock guy and says, "Hey, buy
Oh,
Dell stock." That means that it was the person who initiated it. It wasn't solicited by the stock trader. Most of the time, the stock trader will call their client and say, "Hey, I'm
yeah.
looking at a potentially really good deal here. I think we should buy this." And they get the approval of their customer to make that purchase. If it's unsolicited, meaning Trump initiated it, they have to mark that down on the trade. And a lot of them were unsolicited, meaning that Donald Trump initiated the whole thing. He called his guy and said, "Hey, buy Dell, buy Eli Lilly, buy Palantir, whatever it is." And then the Palantir one's the most egregious because he bought a load of it over like a 3 month period. He was buying a lot of it. And then he tweeted, "Palantir's a great company. Everybody should buy Palantir stock." And he even included their stock, like the stock exchange symbol for them.
The ticker
Like,
symbol?
yeah, it's like that.
Blatant corruption. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to think that his a stockbroker is just tired of getting calls from Trump. He's probably calling him at like 3 a.m. going
If you're a
between tweets.
stockbroker, I'll bet that they're doing like the fact that they marked that it's unsolicited. Like I'll bet they're checking a lot of boxes to make sure they can't get in trouble for this.
Yeah.
Like because what where they could get in trouble is if it was unsolicited. Trump initiated it, but they didn't mark that to try to cover for Trump. That's where they could get in trouble. So
Yeah.
I'll bet they're following the letter of the law because they know like this is not good, and I don't want to get myself in trouble. So
Yeah. I mean, that's just another thing that the Democrats can go after him once they win the midterms.
there's too many things like that's it's this whole flood the zone thing. But like right now. And all the people that study this stuff say, hey, the Democrats need to hone in on like 3 or 4 things and really hammer those. And like the economy, affordability, that's the main thing. But like if you try to point out too much to the voters, look, you did this and this and that. If you try to do too much, people will not they'll lose focus because you're trying to show them too many things.
Yeah.
You got to find what are the ones that are polling the best. Affordability in the economy is definitely at the
Yeah.
top of the list, and just focus on those. And even though the Trump Kennedy Center or the what all the other little stuff, yeah, that's bad, but don't try to bring that up because it'll make the voter lose interest because you're showing them too
Yeah.
much stuff. So,
Yeah, well, I'm talking about once we get in office, then like, is this an
God,
impeachable offense? Like, how many impeachable offenses has Trump committed in the last year and a half?
I don't even want to guess. The thing is, and I still say like unless there are signs that you really have enough people in the Senate to convict him, like don't mess with like the impeachments. The impeachments rub more people the wrong way than anything else because instead of doing something to make our lives better, they're spending all their time trying to impeach Trump when we know it's not actually going to work. They will impeach him in the House and he won't be convicted in the Senate. It's already happened twice. Like use your time in government to do something to make our lives better. Like stop impeaching him unless it looks like you really can convict him.
Well, yeah, but wouldn't it make our lives better if they were living in his head with all these impeachments? Because you know
That's
how much he hates it when he gets impeached.
that's the only good thing. Like Bill
And
Clinton
it
was
pulls him away from other stuff, like
so
doing other shitty things.
exactly like Bill Clinton was able to compartmentalize what all of his responsibilities and like deal with the impeachment for Monica Lewinsky while also keeping other things moving and doing things. Donald Trump doesn't seem as good at that. Like he gets really focused on the impeachment. So if you say, well, the impeachment will slow him down and get him to stop doing all the bad things because he's focused on the impeachment, okay, there is some truth to that. But I'm just telling you, like in general, both of the impeachments of him in his first term ended up not really being a positive for Democrats. Like overall polling wise, like more people thought it was a waste of time and taxpayer money than thought it was a good thing. Just saying.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
like I said, it has to be bad. Um, we are going to talk about the war in a minute, but I do have a couple funny things. First of all, Talarico and Paxton. In Texas, we have the matchup we wanted. They are going hard after Talarico right now. They're calling him a vegan. Stephen Miller said that they nominated their first transgender. Uh,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, they were calling him gay. I will say this, and I didn't pull a picture, but he's been called gay a couple different times during this race, and he hasn't really responded to it. Well, in the past day, he put out pictures of his girlfriend. I've never been into the Latin ladies, but people are impressed. I will say, not my type, but people are impressed. But apparently, she might be a vegan, which that could be a problem. Uh, anyhow,
They don't have anything on him. He's clean.
dude, the things they're trying to hit him with, like it's kind of hysterical. The reason I bring him up though, that we got our first poll after the primary. So once we figured out that it's going to be Paxton and Talarico head on, first poll, Talarico is winning 47 to 44. That's close, and that's probably honestly margin of error. But like Beto or O'Rourke was the closest we ever got in Texas, and he at no point ever was winning in the polls. Like he was always
Yeah.
down two, down three. Talarico's
I
up
think you
right
just
now.
said Paxton was winning. You're saying
Sorry,
Talarico's winning?
Talarico. Yes, I
Yeah.
apologize. Talarico is up 47-44. So, and it's going to move a lot between now and then. But the most interesting part of this is and this is polling that happened in the last week in Texas. Among Cornyn voters, Republicans that wanted Cornyn to win, 30% of them are saying they're going to vote for Talarico. If
Ooh.
that holds, now that's not guaranteed to hold. But if that holds, Talarico wins, like for sure. Now, the Republicans are going to spend all their effort trying to convince those people that Talarico is the furthest left, radical, liberal, blah blah blah. And that's my mom lives in Texas, and she was like, I've been seeing a lot of negative ads. I hope this doesn't turn into a real negative ad cycle." And I was like, "I'm sorry to tell you
Oh
this,
yeah.
but like for the next 3 months, you're going to see what is it, 5 months probably? Yeah, next 5 months, it's like you're going to see nothing but really negative ads. Like it's going to go back. And with Paxton, there's a lot you can hit him on. He is corrupt. Even people that vote for Paxton aren't going to argue that he's not corrupt.
Big
Um,
time. Big
he
time. I pulled a video. So
okay.
I found out like the Republicans are scrubbing the internet of all the bad videos of
Well,
Paxton because
so
there's horrible ones. And I had to I watched like five of them. The Midas Touch actually was going through all of them. And I just pulled one of them because it's like, holy crap, this
one
guy is like
without even seeing this, what's funny is most of these are going to be Republicans attacking Paxton. I guarantee
Yes.
you, because at first they really wanted Cornyn to win this race. They were afraid that Paxton was going to win. So the National Republican Committee was putting a lot of money into attack ads on Paxton, and the second Paxton won, they started deleting that shit. Let's
Uh-huh.
see the video you got.
All right, and this is actually from Cornyn.
Voting time. So let's cut through the bullshit. Crooked Ken Paxton cheated on his wife. She's divorcing him on biblical grounds. So now Paxton's wrecking another home, sleeping around with a married mother of 7. And remember this, Crooked Ken has increased his net worth by as much as 7,000% since taking office. And his actions in office, even more troubling. Paxton gave millions of Texas tax dollars to left-wing organizations, including the Montrose Center that hosts drag queen shows and performs gender-affirming services to kids as young as 7. Now think of the Paxton dirty deeds we don't know about yet. The wife cheater and fraud, or the Texas workhorse.
So what's funny is the whole he gave money to liberal groups. Dude, in Oklahoma right now, we have a governor election coming up, and I keep seeing these whole like liberal, like blah blah blah. They'll say the name, he's a liberal, this and that, and I'm always like, wow, there's a liberal running for governor. No, they're all Republicans. All the Republicans are calling the other Republican liberal to try to like everybody's getting attacked for being too liberal. I don't even think there's a Democrat in the race, as far as I know. Like it's a couple Republicans all trying to call the other Republicans liberal. It's hysterical.
That's funny because even a Democrat's not liberal.
Not necessarily, and
Yeah.
I don't. We need to look into that sometime because you have a lefty and a liberal, and those are two. If
Yeah.
if you're talking to a lefty and you call them a liberal, they'll get really offended. They're like, "I'm not a liberal, I'm a lefty." I have no clue what the difference is. I'm just going to tell you right now. I don't really get it.
Yeah, I don't either. We should probably know. I should probably know what I am.
I'm an independent, so you figure that shit out for yourself. But
You're a lefty, bro.
yeah, I don't get it. But anyhow, so we'll keep an eye on that. Like I said, Talarico's gonna take a hammer and like they're gonna come at him with it because they're so afraid of losing Texas, which Texas at this point doesn't really matter. If they win the other states, they should win. Maine and Ohio being two of the big ones. Like
Well,
then
Maine's an interesting run. Like the Democrats are fighting against the actual liberal candidate. Like they're
there's a couple
trying
of
to
them.
get
Yeah,
the what's her name? Nancy Mace? Is that her
I
name?
know Susan Collins.
Susan Collins. I get
Yeah.
those two confused. 'Cause they're fighting to get Susan Collins, keep her in office when she votes with Trump most of the time.
You say they. There's one guy that, and he's a Democrat, but he keeps going on Fox News and giving interviews, and I'm like, like how he's a
But it's
Democrat.
the DNC is funding it. The
So
DNC is funding against like ads and shit against.
if I'm correct on this, they were funding it all the way up till the primary because they really wanted Janet Mills, who was the liberal Democrat governor of Maine. They wanted her to beat Graham Plattner. So just like with the Paxton thing in Texas, like they were putting a lot of money against Graham Plattner, hoping Janet Mills would win. And then once they realized Graham Plattner is going to win, he won. Now they're pulling all that back and probably trying to scrub it from the internet, except for this one guy who keeps going around on Fox News talking.
Okay.
So, and even that guy tried to come out and be like, well, clearly I want the Democrats to take the Senate. So I wouldn't vote against him. I'm just saying he was trying to walk a tight line of like not really taking back what he'd said before, but also saying like he was begrudgingly saying, I guess you should vote for Graham Plattner.
The Democratic Party the pendulum has swung with the Democratic Party, like the constituents, but the old guard, the the DNC is still stuck in this like pay to play, like we'll support the billionaires and these other countries that will not be named.
I'll tell you this, and I've mentioned this once a week. I feel like to you for the past several months, but this is playing out exactly like the Tea Party in 2010. Like they were so mad at Obama, the Tea Party was just. It was a grassroots deal. The like establishment Republicans were trying everything they could to defeat these Tea Party candidates. They did not like them. The Tea Party prevailed, and then had a massive sweep in 2010 in the Senate and the House. This is playing out. This is like the Democrats' version of the Tea Party that's happening right now. So get ready.
Right. I think there's different waves of this, right? Where we all know that it's not really left versus right. It's not the Republicans versus Democrats. It's the rich versus everybody
So
else.
you say we all know. More and more people are waking up to that, but like the Chuck Schumers that are still in office are
Yeah.
trying so hard to go, no, 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 no. It's left first right. Like, and it's the old, I've
Well, the
seen.
right does it more than the left, I feel.
Well, I feel like you're wrong on that, but we can
Okay.
disagree. But you know the whole thing about like, oh, they're trying to distract us with abortion or this and that, when
Hmm.
really the billionaires are just robbing us blind. Like that's true at the top of both sides. Like you have corporate Democrats and corporate Republicans that love to keep us bickering about all kinds of stuff while the billionaires do great. And
While they take in money.
yeah, and so the Republicans had their moment in 2010-ish where they were like, "No, screw this. We want to, take down the elite class." And then they got, in my opinion, they got conned into voting for Donald Trump, who's going to take down the elites. And it seems that he's done nothing but help the elites this whole time. Slowly, Republicans are waking up to this. The
10
Democrats.
years, 10 years later.
Yep. Well, and not all of them are waking up to it yet, but I mean, he's definitely. They'd be like, Donald Trump's for me. He's for the lower income guy. No, he's not at all. Nothing. He says that a lot, but nothing he actually does is for you. We're kind of at that point now with Democrats, where like they talk a big game about helping the middle and lower class, but it seems like their priority is helping their billionaire donors,
Well,
and
helping themselves is what it is. It's not
then
helping.
themselves and their billion. You got to help your billionaire donor so we can keep giving you money. So it's
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
They're just helping themselves, but through their donors and other governments that want to start wars.
yeah, just random other government, not one in particular, but just other governments in the Middle East that
Other
are
governments.
that are
Yeah.
democracies, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Before we get to the war, I do have one more fun thing that I wanted to talk about. Um, have you seen what the White House is looking like recently, specifically the lawn of the White House?
No. Oh, maybe. Oh my gosh. It looks like a circus.
It looks like something out of the movie Idiocracy. Like that's what I kind of kept coming back to. Like he's trashed the White House. What are we doing? So
Holy crap.
they've started they've started building the it's not even like the octagon. They're building the stage. What I don't know what you'd call that.
It's the octagon, and they call it the claw. It's like where they put all the lights and stuff on it.
Okay, well, that's what they're doing now. They've realized so they want to have a packed house. They want to have people there to watch the fight. Also, you can't just let people buy tickets to come onto the White House grounds. Like that's a big security issue for the Secret Service. If you're just going to let people buy tickets off StubHub and come
Yeah.
through the gates at the White House and be walking around the lawn, like that's a problem. But for the optics, they really want to be able to show a packed crowd. This is possibly the most hysterical thing I saw this week.
Before you move off of that photo, look to the right of the
Uh,
White House, though. Look at
oh yeah, the East Wing.
the East Wing. It looks like it's,
Yeah,
I mean, it's more than a construction site. That thing is, it's like a giant hole in the ground.
it looks great.
Holy crap.
So
Okay.
to solve their problem of needing a packed house, but also the security issue of this is from the Washington Post. Breaking news: the Pentagon is moving to recruit hundreds of troops to appear as spectators at President Trump's UFC cage fighting event on the White House lawn, and requiring those who attend to pay their own way and meet height and weight requirements. So no fatties, okay? We want the right kind of troop. The troop that looks like
Tall, tall, buff young men, the kind that Trump likes.
you could say tall, white, blonde, blue-eyed. I don't know, Aryan.
Ooh,
I don't know.
ooh, you're going that way. Ooh, okay, okay.
Seems like they
I'm curious now.
seems like they want a very prototypical clean cut. We'll see.
This
So
is in July?
this is in June 14th. This is 2 weeks from now, to June 14th.
2 weeks. All right.
Yeah, June 14th.
Okay.
And that's with June 14th, which is Flag Day, and coincidentally, Donald Trump's birthday. So, whatever.
Yeah.
What's funny is so in this story they said that the Pentagon is promising to provide those troops free water if they come, free water when they get there. Now they have to pay their own way; they got to pay their flight, hotel, all that stuff. But if they can get there, the Pentagon will give them free water during the event. Sounds like a heck of a deal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You also
They'll,
have to meet height and weight requirements. So
they'll pack it, I think.
If they're,
I mean, how many seats are they going to have?
I have no clue.
I mean,
That
and how many troops do we have? We have like,
we have a lot of troops, but what troops are you going to get that are going to pay out of pocket to go do that? Maybe a lot. Maybe they'll have no problem doing it. I don't know.
yeah, I feel like that crowd is definitely into the UFC.
I don't know. So they are going to, I do know that they're going to have, because once they realized we can't just sell tickets to this event, so the, what is it called? The Ellipse. Wait,
4,300.
is how many people are going to try to have there? Now,
Yeah.
is that at the Ellipse or is that on the White House grounds? Because I think they might be conflating the two, whatever you're looking at.
The temporary arena being built on the south lawn for the UFC Freedom 250 event has approximately 4,300 seats.
Okay, so 4,300 on the White House lawn, and then what they're trying to do is sell tickets to the Ellipse, which is like right down the street. That's where the Ellipse is where Trump was giving all his speeches on January 6th before he told everybody to march down to the White House peacefully, is what he said. But so they're selling tickets to go to the Ellipse where you can watch it all on a big jumbotron while sitting like picnic style on the grass watching
Yeah.
the fight. So that's what they're trying to do to kind of make up for it. I find that to be hysterical. Now, this fight is all part of the America 250, America's birthday party. We're turning 250 years old. Have you seen the lineup of artists they're going to have performing at the it's called the Great American State Fair? Have you seen this lineup?
Uh-uh.
This is possibly the best lineup of artists I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how they got this many great people.
Martina McBride, huh? Young
Martina-
MC.
First of all, hey, can we stop you right there? I would pay to see the young MC.
Yeah.
He did Bust a Move and a couple other good 80s songs, but
Yeah.
I'd pay to see him. CNC Music Factory, that's old school.
Where's
Vanilla-
Kid Rock?
So that's everybody's asking. Kid Rock's not on here. We don't know where Kid Rock is. So anyhow,
Are they fighting?
they might be. No, because they're flying Apaches over his house and doing photo
Sure.
shoots.
That's true.
Vanilla Ice, of course. Now, Milli Vanilli kind of got run out of the business after their whole lip singing fiasco, and also one of them died. I don't know if it was Milli or Vanilli, but one of them died a couple years ago. So we're getting half of Milli Vanilli.
Shit.
The Commodores, who I would also pay to see, Morris Day and the Time. I don't know if you're familiar with Jay and Silent Bob, but they always talk about how great Morris Day and the Time is. They have the one song Jungle Love, but I'd pay to see them also. Flo Rida and Bret Michaels. Okay, so kind of a packed lineup. Now, there's a lot of controversy surrounding this right now.
This is before the UFC fight?
No, this is over like a 2-week period. They're calling it the Great American State Fair. Now, I forget the name of the other one, but there's basically two events going on simultaneously for America's birthday. One of them is a bipartisan event that's not political, and it's, Democrats and Republicans are putting it on, and that's one event. I don't remember what we're calling that. The other event is the Great American State Fair, and that is a MAGA event. Donald Trump is running that, and it's going to be people kissing Trump's butt. All these people claim, not all of them, but most of them claim that they were tricked. When they signed up, when they said yes, they would do this, they were saying, yes, we'll do the bipartisan one. They didn't realize they were getting signed up for the MAGA one. So we've had an update to the lineup for the artists at this event.
Oh, shit.
So we now have CNC Music Factory, Flo Rida, Bret Michaels, and Vanilla Ice.
And Vanilla Ice, yeah.
Now, all the other ones, and I almost pulled them all, but they were lengthy, but all of them released statements via their social media basically saying, hey, we were lied to. We thought that this was the bipartisan one. As soon as we found out that this was going to be slanted to the right, we said no thanks, blah, blah, blah. So now they're scrambling for other artists. Kid Rock has to. I can't believe Kid Rock's not involved in this. But other than Kid Rock, like who else? So there's a country singer, Jason Aldean, or he has a one of them has a song that's like basically like I'd like to see you try that in my small town, like that. It's called like My Small Town or whatever it is. Like maybe that guy's gonna show. I don't know, but like this is a pretty weak lineup, I got to tell you. And it was weak to start with, and most of them have canceled.
Yeah.
You had 9 to start with, and you got 4
Interesting.
now.
I mean, but I feel like Jason Aldean probably charges a lot more than Vanilla Ice at this point.
Maybe, dude. Vanilla Ice
he's still relevant.
Dude, Vanilla Ice was on TMZ getting interviewed by whatever the guy that runs TMZ is, and it was I should have pulled it, but he was like, I don't care. I'll perform in front of anybody. I'll perform in front of and he started naming like the Ayatollah in Iran. I'll perform like Hitler, like Vladimir Putin. You give me somewhere to perform, I'll perform. So that was his excuses. I would happily perform for Vladimir Putin. Like just
Standards.
yeah.
Standard.
So and yeah, I don't know anything about Flo Rida. Flo Rida doesn't seem like the MAGA artist. Like it's rap, right? I feel like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's right.
What did CNC Music Factory? Did they do Funky Town or what did they do? I feel like
I don't even remember.
hold on. Now I'm because I'm curious. I know CNC Music. I think they did Funky Town. Hold on.
And Brent Michaels, what does he do? Like, I don't know. These are all no, there's no like big hits in this. CNC Music Factory.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I don't know. I should have looked ahead of time, but
Their number one song on Spotify is Gonna Make You Sweat.
okay. So I'm gonna make you sweat. Yeah, I remember that song. That was a
Okay.
'90s song. So Brett Michaels, I mean, he was popular in the '80s. Flo Rida, Vanilla Ice. Yeah, I met.
They were all popular in the 80s and 90s.
I got to hang out with Vanilla Ice one time.
No.
100%. Yeah. So I used to hang out. You know the band that I used to help out with in Arlington back in the day?
Yeah.
They played a show at Firewater in Dallas, and they were opening for Vanilla Ice, and I was kind of like their roadie for the event. I helped them do some stuff, and I got to be backstage. And at one point I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "Is that Vanilla Ice right beside me?" And then I met him, and he was like, "Hey, his name's like Peter or something. He's got a real like white guy name. It was, but he was like, yeah, I'm Peter or whatever what his name was." And I shook his hand, and I was so confused because I was like, "You look like Vanilla Ice, but you just said you're Peter." Turned out it was. I talked to him for like 5 minutes. He was
Yes.
wasn't that cool to talk to be honest with you. So
Uh,
anyhow,
I think the best thing he ever did was he was in Adam Sandler movie. I forget which one, but
that's my boy. Yeah, he
that's
was actually
such a good movie.
he was good in that. So anyhow, we're moving on to Iran real quick. I'm going to give you a real quick synopsis. So earlier this week, it came out that Trump said, "Hey, we got a deal. Like we're so close to a deal." And we talked about this last time. We're 95% of the way there. The only thing we haven't figured out yet is the Strait of Hormuz and what's going to happen to their highly enriched uranium. But we're 95% there.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous because that's the 95%. Like, what do you mean? You haven't figured out the
Right.
two toughest things? Anyhow, America, the U.S. side, will not say, and the deal is a memorandum of understanding. So not even a deal, but a memorandum of understanding, and it's basically going to be a ceasefire and open up a window of 30 or 60 days to negotiate on the nuclear stuff. But during that time, the Strait of Hormuz will potentially open. That's what we kind of know. First of all, without knowing the deal, there's one country over in that region, the democracy, the one that we back, that has had some things to say about this deal. So this is from Drop Site News, which they are the most plugged in organization over there right now, where they says new Israeli officials are privately urging the Trump administration to abandon negotiations with Iran, assassinate Iran's parliamentary speaker and lead negotiator Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, and launch a new round of strikes targeting Iran's oil infrastructure, according to classified intelligence assessment cited by Capital and Empire. Israeli officials reportedly believe renewed attacks could trigger an economic collapse and eventually regime change, even as U.S. and Iranian negotiators are working towards the framework to extend the ceasefire and reopen the strait. So, several things I want to mention right there. The first one, this is a dumb one, but I've been thinking about this all week long. The main guy that we're talking to over there right now is named Ghalibaf.
Okay.
This is so dumb, and I hate to even bring it up to you. But I have trouble taking certain leaders that are supposed to be like our big, bad, scary enemy. Like, I can't take them seriously if they have a funny name. Like, Vladimir Putin. Like, that strikes fear into our hearts. Like, that one, I get it.
Ghalibaf just tickles your funny bone a little bit.
Ghalibaf. I don't know. Every time I say it like that. Ghalibaf. We're talking to Ghalibaf. Like, even Xi Jinping, like, Xi Jinping is pretty ferocious. No, it's a funny name to me. I need you to have a scary name.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that's my first thing. Secondly, of course, they're trying to tell us to they want us to abandon the deal and go ahead and assassinate their new leaders. But yeah, that worked so well the first time. On that
And the
note,
second time.
And the second time. But on that note, they say, it says Israeli officials reportedly believe renewed attacks could trigger economic collapse and eventually regime change. That's what they told us the first time. And you know what it did? It created like a rally around the flag mentality in Iran, where
Yeah.
even if they didn't like the leadership, they just got attacked. It's just like us at 9/11. They were more patriotic then than ever. When Trump said he was going to blow up their bridges and power plants, they went out and formed like a human shield on their bridges and power plants to stop us from doing it. Like, it didn't work the first time, and Israel's trying to convince us that it'll work this time. Oh, we're pretty sure it'll work now. And what scares me is there's at least a 20-30% chance that it could work. Like, they could convince us to do this. Trump could go, I'm with you. Like, that's kind of that's the scariest
Yeah.
part behind all this.
Well, again, what does the prime minister over there have on Donald Trump?
Money. I still say money. That's the most
You
likely
think it's just
scenario.
money?
I think that's the most likely scenario.
It just seems like him and Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping have stuff on him. Like, I know they do their opposition research, and I'm sure they have. Who knows? Who
So
knows? It's weird.
I used to be way more open to like, oh, Putin's got stuff on Trump. I don't think so. I think that they, like you said, they do their Oppo research. They know that if you just say good things about Trump, Kim Jong-un at one point started sending Trump love letters. Remember that in the first term? And
Yeah.
suddenly Trump was talking real great about Kim Jong-un. Like, if you're just nice to him and say nice things about him, he will return the favor to you. And I think it could be as simple as Putin has figured that out. Okay.
You
Now,
don't
in
think it's
his,
the P-tape?
Nah, I don't. I don't believe in the golden shower tape. But even like in Israel, Trump's been talking about it for the last 2 weeks. He's polling at 99% in Israel. The people over there are showing him that they love him and they're thankful for what he's doing for them. And that's
Yeah.
all it takes is now he wants to keep doing it. They love him. He wants to keep giving them what they want. So
Yeah.
they,
While they commit war crimes.
hey, unproven, allegedly, most
No.
likely, most likely.
No. I'm pretty sure the UN is putting them in said they are committing war crimes.
I wasn't going to bring this up tonight because you have trouble containing yourself when I bring up that
Yeah.
country. But yeah, let's look at this real quick just because it's interesting to say the least. The UN Secretary General report accuses that one country in the Middle East forces of grape abuse, grape and abuse of Palestinian detainees. Sorry, I'm trying not to say certain words here. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres added Israeli security forces to a UN list of parties accused of blank violence in conflict. The report cites several cases of Israeli forces committing grape and other acts of violence against Palestinian detainees in custody and during interrogations. Now, that guy from the New York Times just a week ago wrote a big article about a certain way that prisoners were being abused by
Mhm.
canines. I don't know if you saw that whole story.
No.
Using canines to penetrate. Yeah.
Dogs?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. This was a whole. I don't know how you missed this. I didn't bring it up because I don't know how we can talk about it and not get killed in the algorithm.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's several people that claim that happened. Now, the Israel is talking about suing the New York Times over this. The New York Times is standing by their reporter and all the evidence they had. What's funny is the Republicans are saying no. We know that that's not possible because some person from like the American Canine Kennel Club or some group came out and said that it's impossible to train dogs to do that. And they're just taking his word on that. I mean, like, yep, it's impossible. He said it's impossible, so that must be a lie because you can't train a dog to do that. They claim that Israel has, or that one country has figured out a way to do that, and it involves smearing some kind of paste on the person's backside. Then they tie him down and turn the dog loose and get mounted.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So-
How many Palestinian prisoners do they have? Do they have
Oh,
like 18,000 or something?
It was like 12,000 or something like that.
12,000.
Yeah.
Because,
So-
yeah.
And
Have
yeah,
they
and
done
then-
any hangings yet?
Not yet. They haven't started that yet.
Okay.
And then this is Barak Ravid, which, real quick, Barak Ravid is the reporter with Axios. I think I've said this before, but this bears repeating every time. every time that there's a report that, oh, it looks like America is close to a peace deal with Iran, and it's always right before the stock market opens on Monday morning. Every time that starts with Barack Ravid from Axios. It's him he's just got a scoop that we're about to sign a deal and the stock market goes crazy. Barack Ravid is Israeli. He was in the IDF, the Israeli army, and he's really close with Netanyahu and it appears the Trump regime. Whatever he says, just understand that this is state media almost. This is what they want you to hear. But I give him credit after this UN report came out. Here's his tweet. UN report, Israeli security forces raped and assaulted 31 Palestinians in the last year, including 10 children. So anyhow, we don't have to comment on that anymore. We can just let that hang right there. There's no need to say anymore. I know you can't control yourself, Docs.
No.
Anyhow, so Israel doesn't want us to do the deal with Iran. They'd rather us go back and take out the leadership again and try to force regime change. What do we know about the deal? All we know about the deal is what Iran is saying about the deal. Okay, I've said this a lot. Iran's a bullshitter. Like Iran, you can't take anything they say real seriously. Unfortunately, that's kind of what our current administration is like. So you can't believe either side. But just for fun, here's the new points that Iran says in this week's memorandum that is very close to getting signed, supposedly.
Initial details of deal per Iran. U.S. military forces will withdraw from the vicinity of Iran.
So basically, real quick, basically they're saying we're going to retreat from the region. We're going to pull out of the Middle East, which would be an embarrassing loss, but okay.
Oh, yeah, big time. Yeah, what's the vicinity? Like, is that all surrounding countries?
Everywhere in the Gulf area, I would think.
Yeah. The U.S. Navy will lift its blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Let's do that. Iran is committed to restoring the number of commercial transit ships through the Strait of Hormuz to prevent war levels within 1 month.
To pre-war levels.
To pre-war levels. Iranian state media says military vessels are not included in this draft agreement.
So we won't. So they're saying we're going to open the strait for commercial shipping, but we're not going to let military vessels in and out of the strait.
Any military vessels or
any, except their own, I'm sure.
Yeah, no. The management and route of ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz will be handled by Iran in cooperation with Oman. Okay. Oh.
So they're saying they're going to let the same amount of ships, the pre-war level of ships, go through the Strait of Hormuz, but then at the end there, the way they said it, the management and routing of ship traffic through the strait will be handled by Iran in cooperation with Oman. So supposedly it is illegal to do a toll. You can't do a toll.
Yeah.
What they've come up with, because they've created now the Strait of Hormuz Authority, which it's an entity they've created that's going to run it, and it's controlled by Iran, and they're going to charge an environmental toll to keep the strait pristine and whatever. And guess what? It's going to be, and hey, don't even clap because they're not going to use it for that. Okay, that's what they're calling it. But it's going to be $2 million per ship, the same as the toll was. They just changed it to where legally they actually have a leg to stand on. There's other areas in the world where you pay an environmental toll to go through certain areas because it's a waterway that's been affected by pollution or whatever. So they're gonna call it that. I don't think they're gonna put any money into preserving that area.
Is this why Trump threatened to bomb Oman?
Yes, I have that clip. Let's watch that real quick, and then we can stew on it.
Going to control it's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine.
Mr. President, thank you.
They'll be fine.
So Oman is our ally in the area. Like when we were doing negotiations with Hamas, like Oman was always the mediator in between the two. When we were dealing with Iran at the beginning, it was Oman that was the mediator. Then it became Pakistan at one point. Now it's kind of Oman again. But they've been like our friends in this. And now Trump's saying they're going to behave or we're going to blow them up. Cool. The other Arab countries did not like that at all. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, like they're all good. They're all friends with Oman. And the fact that like it was insinuated that they might step out of line. They didn't say they were going to do anything. Iran said it. But just because of that, Trump threatened to blow them up. If you're the other Arab states over there, you can't like that at all. They had a lot to say about it afterward.
Was that the same interview or the same meeting where he was like, oh yeah, and Pete Hegseth, he loves war.
That was, which I didn't pull that clip, but I do have a couple more clips from that was a cabinet meeting. But I do have a couple more clips from it we'll get to in a little bit. But so he said that, but I think what was it, like Monday or Tuesday was when they were saying like we have a deal. I think it was Monday, Memorial Day. They were like, it looks like we have a deal. It's gonna be signed. And
Yeah.
then you would have thought if we had a deal, Trump would have loved to have signed it during this week while the stock market was open, so he
Yeah.
could have got a big hit from it. It's Friday now. The fact that he never did it, he's not going to do it over the weekend. You don't waste something like that over the weekend. You do that Monday morning right before the stock market opens so it can skyrocket. So we're not going to get anything over the weekend. Iran has been telling everybody that they're pretty sure they're going to get attacked this weekend. They think he's been saying all week that they're close to a deal, and then he's really going to strike them again this weekend. He's been striking them, and they've been launching drones at the UAE and other countries like that for this last week, and it's barely getting covered. Like it's not a ceasefire right now. Like we blew up a couple military bases in Iran within the past 3 or 4 days, not being talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we started. We said, what did we say? It was
We said it was
oh,
self-defense. We said we detected a threat and acted in self-defense. So basically, exactly what Israel does all the time. It's like, well, they it looked like they were about to attack, so we had to blow them up. Is basically what we did. So we did that, and then the next day they launched a bunch of drones at Kuwait and a couple other countries. It seems like we intercepted a good amount of those drones. So good, but also like we're not in a ceasefire right now. That's kind of laughable.
yeah.
The other thing, real quick, that Trump tried to throw in this week, or it seems like we might have been close to a deal, but now Trump's trying to tack on other stuff. And my belief is that he's doing it to blow up negotiations. I think he's trying to make this fail. But have you seen the Abraham Accords thing he's trying to throw into here?
No.
So are you familiar with the Abraham Accords?
Yeah, that's kind of like all the Gulf countries come together and have like a round table kind of thing.
But come together with who?
Oh, is it with Israel?
Yes. So the whole point of the Abraham Accords, which this was Jared Kushner's big, moment during the first term. Really, if you could say like what did Trump do that was good during the first term, a lot of people would point at the Abraham Accords. The whole point of it is to normalize relations between Israel and the Arab countries over there because they've been at odds.
That held up really well, didn't it?
Well, so far the only country, I believe the UAE is the only one that signed in that area.
Oh.
Jordan and maybe Syria, like some other countries signed over there, but in the Gulf, the UAE is the only one who actually signed it. The Saudi Arabia is the main one. They have said forever that they will not normalize relations with Israel until the Palestinian situation is resolved. And then what they want is they want a two-state solution. But that's their thing is until they figure out what to do with the Palestinians, we're not going to normalize. Oman and the other countries over there, I don't think they're really close to doing it. But Trump decided to insert this into the negotiations this week. Here's another clip from that same meeting.
And we'd like to have the countries we were talking about with Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and the others, we'd like to have them immediately join and Steve Witkoff is working on that with Jared and some others, but would like to have them join the Abraham Accords. It'll be historic if they do it. And I think they owe that to us, to be honest. I think, because that really would be a tremendous sign. And I think those countries owe it to us.
Mr. President.
Steve, are you going to get them to sign?
We're definitely pushing it, Mr. President.
I'm not sure we should make the deal if they don't sign. You want to know the truth? If they don't sign to join the Abraham Accords, I don't know that we have countries in there already. UAE, great countries, bold countries, and it's turned out to be so good, so effective, and so we're requesting strongly that they join. It'll be great. It'll be great for Saudi Arabia.
So now he's trying to basically blackmail the Gulf countries that were on our side. They were on our side fighting Iran, and now we're trying to tell them, hey, we're not going to end this and have peace in the region unless you become friends with Israel.
Yeah.
What? Where did that come from? They don't want to. If all Israel's got to do is start treating the Palestinians correctly, and they'll do it, and Israel ain't going to do that. So,
well, it seems like that was the one good thing Trump did in his first term, right? Like you said, but it's kind of a flop. Nobody's on it. There's not really. It doesn't work if they're not all together.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 Arab countries that did sign it. The UAE is the only big one, and
Has Israel signed it?
Yeah, Israel signed it with them. It was yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, so now there is normal relations between the UAE and Israel. They have trade. They probably have ambassadors in each country. That's kind of what it was.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and the rest of those countries still technically don't recognize Israel as a country. Like that's where they're at. Is we
Oh,
don't recognize their right to exist.
we can do that?
I mean, they have.
Okay.
So, there was one person that really loved the Abraham Accords idea by Trump. Can you guess who it might have been? Actually, it's two people. Two people really loved this idea.
Two people loved it.
You're
Mandami.
not Mamdani. Opposite of Mamdani. Here's another clip from Fox News for you.
I know you're in contact with all of the countries in the Middle East. Are you getting any indication?
My phone's been ringing off the hook.
Sir?
My phone is ringing off the hook. My phone is ringing off the hook because he said I should link the two. He's saying to the Arabs, look what I've done for you. He saved MBS. He's the best friend Israel's ever had. Everybody in the region should rally around the idea of adding Saudi Arabia and other countries to the Abraham Accords. It would change the makeup of the Mideast in a way that nobody could envision just a year ago. It would change the Mideast for the better, the biggest change in thousands of years. To our Arab allies, you need to help President Trump. You need to embrace the fact that it is now time to end the Arab-Israeli conflict, make peace with Israel, build on the Abraham Accords, and if you say no to him, you say no at your own peril. Look what he's done for the Arab world. Look what he's done to your biggest enemy, Iran. Look how he stood by you when other people were going to abandon you. As to our friends in Israel, you have no better friend than Donald Trump. Quite frankly, Donald Trump, you owe it to him. You owe it to your people. You owe it to the world to do what he's asking you to do. Build on the Abraham Accords. I've never been more optimistic than I am right now. My phone's been ringing off the hook. President Trump, stay on this. You're right to want to expand the Abraham Accords. You can do this.
Just get it over with, man. Get the war over with. Let's move on.
Well, they owe it to Donald Trump personally to do this.
No,
And
nobody owes him anything.
he said there that Donald Trump stood by the Arab countries when Iran was attacking. The Arab countries are mad because they realized that we were using the majority of our interceptors to protect Israel instead of protecting the UAE, Dubai, Qatar, Oman, Kuwait, all those countries. Like they were taking all the hits, and we were more concerned with protecting Israel than we were with protecting them. They talk about that a lot. They're still mad about that. And Lindsey Graham's over here. He stood by and protected you. Now they don't see it that way. Is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So anyhow. The reason that Donald Trump is in a hurry to get this over with, though, is everybody's been predicting that, when supply chain runs out, when we hit the bottom of the barrel of our reserves, all that, we're starting to get a clean picture of what that's going to look like. Here's a quick little bit on the economy for you of what we're dealing with right now.
Report, okay. Yeah. Lauren, you got it.
Okay, so April saw a big jump in inflation tied to gas prices. The Fed's preferred inflation gauge hitting 3.8%, in line with expectations, a 3-year high, and a big step up from 3.5% in March. Okay, take out energy, take out food, your core level, a more modest 3.3%. Bottom line here is the report is little comfort for those hoping the Fed would cut rates, and little comfort for those on Main Street. Inflation is wiping out wages. If you looked at the income levels last month, flat, spending levels way up. And then we got the GDP read, the revision for the first 3 months of the year, revised down to 1.6%.
Huh.
So a couple things there. At the end, she said GDP got revised. Remember last time GDP, we talked about it a week or two ago, but it came in at like 2%, and that's higher than people thought. And I even said, I was like, let's wait and see what the revisions look like. There's going to be one more revision. So this was the first revision, went from 2 to 1.6, and then there's going to be the final number. It's going to come in like 3 more weeks. I'll bet that's going to be more like 1.2 to 1.4, somewhere in that range.
Good golly.
Anyhow, and then inflation's now at 3.8, continuing to trend upward. Again, inflation's not one of those things that you can just turn around on a dime. You have to slow it down first and then try to work it back down. So,
well, didn't we talk about this last time that like gas prices won't get back to pre-war until like 2032?
I don't know if we talked about it on the air, but that's what they're saying now is that sub $3 a gallon gas is going to be 6 years to get back down to. So And that's where we're at right now is like we've been releasing gas from our strategic reserves ever since this started, and every other country's been doing it too. And by doing that, they've been able to like artificially keep the gas price lower than it should be.
Yeah.
But every country's almost out of their reserves. And once you hit that point, then the market truly is dictating the price. And we're coming up on that in apparently the next 4 to 6 weeks is what they're saying. So all the tankers that are stuck in the Gulf right now, it'll take them 3 to 5 weeks to get to the ports they're trying to go to. And then on top of that, once it gets there, it has to be refined and then shipped out to the actual like gas stations. So we're kind of at a point where like we need to make a deal this week and get the strait open, or else in 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to truly see what the gas is going to do once we run out of reserves.
Yeah.
Iran is saying, okay, if we sign this memorandum of understanding, we'll start to clear the mines, and they're committing that within 1 month they'll have the traffic flowing like it used to be. So that you're looking at 3 or 4 more weeks of them getting ready to open it up, and then once it opens, 3 to 5 weeks for the ships to get where they're going. The end of the summer, according to economists, the tail end of this summer is gonna look bad gas price wise. If you're gonna make any trips, do it now because it's gonna get worse in July. That's what
gonna kill them in the midterms.
It's not looking good. And then real quick, this is another clip from Fox real quick, but this has to do with food prices, and I thought this was fun to pull.
When you heard what he had to say, when do you think food prices go up?
Well, it's going to show up fairly soon. It should show up by the end of summer, I would think. Higher food prices. He's talking about grain prices. Price of wheat is up by more than 20% from a year ago. Soybeans up by 11%. Let's not forget that 1/3 of the world's fertilizer comes through the Strait of Hormuz, and that explains why, since the start of the Iran conflict, the price of fertilizer is up by 44%.
Not much we can do about it in the near term, is there?
Yeah,
open the straits and get the stuff flowing.
It's just not fertilizer. It's also diesel. You know, farmers use diesel. Yeah. You know, people complain about the fact the price of gasoline is higher 40% from a year ago. The price of diesel up 74%. My goodness.
That's a huge.
I thought he was going to lower prices on everything.
He was going to bring prices down on day one. He was going to cut energy prices in half within the first year, is what he said. Not happening. So. You know, we had to do this with Iran. Okay, we had to. His hand was forced.
Yeah,
not really, but yeah.
By somebody in another country.
Sorry. My last clip of the night, just because I thought this will wrap it all up with a pretty bow. You would think that Trump realizes this is going on, right? Like things aren't good. People are hurting. People are mad. Even Republicans are feeling the pinch. I don't think he does, and I think he's got too many people around him that are just telling him what he wants to hear and kissing his ass. My best evidence for this is from that same cabinet meeting we've already played a clip or two from. Kelly Loeffler. I think she was a senator from Georgia. She's now something in the administration. She's a cabinet secretary. But they go around the room, and this is the whole, kiss Trump's ass-a-thon that they do. Here's Kelly Loeffler reporting to Trump on the state of the economy.
Please.
Mr. President, you have made us a nation of builders again. You're leading us to the greatest economy that the world has ever known. And I see that every week as I travel this country, main streets across dozens of states, from Alaska to Maine. I've been in many of those states 2 or 3 times. I hear it everywhere I go. Please thank the president for putting us back on track. They thank you. They love you. They want more of what we're doing: tax cuts, deregulation, fair trade, energy dominance. Small businesses are spring-loaded.
That's so not reality. Small businesses are hurting more than anyone else with all this right now. Everywhere she goes, people are telling her to thank the president for what he's doing to the economy. I'm in a red state. I'm in a red city in a red state, and the people around me are Trump voters, and they are not happy with the economy. Like if there's one thing that they'll say, yeah, I still like Trump, but I don't like what's happening with gas prices or food prices or inflation. Like, it's the one thing they have to complain about. And Kelly Loeffler is reporting to him that, sir, you're doing great, and America is thrilled with what you're doing, and they want you to keep it up.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, like, is that just during the cabinet meetings, or like, is that what he's hearing on a daily basis from the people that want him to they want him to like them, so they just tell him the things that'll make him happy. And he's like, oh, every time Kelly comes in here, she says nice things about me. I like her. Let her keep coming in here.
Yeah,
I think
when
that's
he's
where
on
we're at.
Twitter, I'm sure his algorithm is just telling him good things about himself too.
Well, you got to think he's not on Twitter; he's on Truth Social, and
Oh
the
yeah.
only people that are on Truth Social are people that love Trump. So yeah, he's probably
Oh,
only
yeah,
hearing the
it's
good
just an
stuff.
ego boost. Truth Social is just an ego boost for him. And did you see the other day he was talking? Somebody asked him a question about Americans, American. I don't remember if it was jobs or whatever. He was like, "I don't care." Like,
That was we played that clip. That was when they asked him if he takes Americans like financial I can't remember how they
hardship.
worded it. I wish I could remember how they worded it. But yeah, do you take Americans' financial situation into account when you're thinking about Iran? And he was like, not at all. I don't think about it one bit. And then
Yeah.
they kept trying to say, well, no, what he meant was this. And JD Vance was like, well, you're taking his words. And then he went on Fox News. Was it with Hannity or whoever it was? And Hannity tried to tee him up to correct himself. And he was like, no, I think that was a perfect statement. I'll say it again. I don't care at all about Americans' financial situation. And it's like, why would you ever go out and try to defend Trump? Because there's a 90% chance he's going to come out after you and double down on whatever he said that you claim he didn't say. So,
Yeah.
anyhow, I've got one more thing left for the night. And just because I thought this was funny, first of all, we said we're not going to talk about outbreaks of viruses, and I still stick by that. We shouldn't do that. But this is just comical. Ebola, there are people sounding the alarms for Ebola. Now, I feel like in the past 20 years, we've had 3 or 4 like Ebola scares. Like, oh my God, Ebola, is it going to come to America? And every time nothing really happens. Hopefully it's the same. We slashed our CDC workforces in a lot of areas. This headline cracked me up. This is from Bloomberg. It says, CDC asks workforce to volunteer for airport Ebola screenings. Apparently, we used to have a group of people that we would mobilize and send to the airport to screen people. We fired them all. They're not there anymore. So we're trying to see if anybody's willing to work overtime and travel to Dulles Airport, because that's where we're going to make everybody that has been in an area that has Ebola. We're going to make them fly in through Dulles and be screened and either kept in quarantine or be free to go, depending on what the screening shows. But we're gonna have to, and we're giving these volunteers 3-day training. We're trying to get everybody to sign up right now. We're gonna train them for 3 days and then send them out there. Every health expert is saying 3 days is not nearly enough. Like, you would need people that have been doing this for a long time. Well, we fired all of them. I don't know if we can hire them back, but they're gone. So,
Well, you know who's on the case?
oh, Dr. Oz. I don't know.
Marco Rubio.
Oh wait, what is
Just
he
play
not?
this video.
What is he not doing? He's on every case.
Everything. He said, he plays a video.
We cannot and will not allow any cases of Ebola to enter the United States. And so the State Department and other agencies represented here, the Centers for Disease Control, HHS, others are working very, very hard to contain this crisis to the countries where it's currently located.
Okay.
We can't allow it to come here. Now, yeah, if you have anything on that, go ahead, but I've got something to say on that.
I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous. We just can't and we will not allow it.
So, you remember on the last show, I was telling you that during COVID, when Trump was like, we're going to stop all travel from China to America to make sure it doesn't get here. And I told you, like, I don't have a problem with that, honestly. Like, right now, like, if we were going to say, hey, if you're coming from a country that has an Ebola outbreak, you can't come to America. Like, that it's real simplistic. It's like build a wall. But also, like, that makes sense to me. Like, yeah, anybody that's coming from that area right now. So I heard a real good reason why you don't do that. So I'm going to give you the other side of that argument, okay? I told you I'm dumb, and I think it makes sense to just don't let them come here. But if you cut off all travel from those affected areas, those people are still going to come home. But what they're going to do is they're going to fly from Africa to Europe and then from Europe to here, and they're going to bypass the screening. So you would rather allow the flow of people from that area and funnel it through Dulles, like they're talking about doing, and screen people, and you'll have people that'll fly into Mexico and then come across the southern border or fly into Canada and drive in, but they're still going to get in. Like, there's no such thing as like, oh, we're not letting any of them in. No, they're going to get in. They're just going to go around the screening, and you don't want that to happen. So that's the flip side to my argument.
So you're saying they learned a lesson? The Trump administration learned a lesson?
No, this is health experts saying that. This is a lesson that we supposedly already knew. Like, this is something we've known for a long time. Now, I don't know if the Trump we'll see. We'll see what, because they're still talking about not letting those people in, period, from those certain parts of the world.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe they're going to listen to the health experts that are on TV talking about this stuff. Maybe they're not. Maybe RFK is going to say, actually, I don't think RFK is calling the shots on this at all. I got to believe that RFK, when it comes to glyphosate and food colors and heavy metals and mercury and all that, like, I think he's just getting overruled by Trump, and he's too spineless to stand up for what he's always believed in. Like, I gotta think, because there's no way RFK is just like, oh, glyphosate, yep, let's make them immune from any lawsuits. That's awesome. Like, I don't think he wanted to do that. I think somebody in Trump's White House gave him the directive and said, hey, this comes from the top. You need to do this. And instead of resigning in protest, which is what I would expect him to do there, he wants to keep his position, so he's just signing off on it.
Well, it wasn't him that signed off the glyphosate stuff. That was
It was the EPA.
EPA, yeah.
Now, he's done a couple others. Food coloring was a big one. You know what? I do feel like most of them have been EPA related. The heavy metals in the pollution and mercury in the water and all that, that's EPA also. Mm-hmm. But again, he's part of this administration. He should be speaking up. And if they won't listen to him, if he would have resigned in protest 3 months ago over some of this stuff, RFK would still be a hero to Maha. Now, maybe he is. I don't know how Maha thinks.
Probably
but
not.
I got to believe if you're true Maha, you can't be happy with what's going on here. Like, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Is he on Twitter? I wonder what his comments are getting.
Because he's been posting videos of himself like catching snakes. That's been his most recent videos.
I saw that.
So that's what he's doing with his time. And also, I don't know if it was his son or Cheryl's son, but they posted a picture. One of their sons graduated from Harvard this week, and they showed a picture of them at the graduation. We're so proud of him for graduating, blah, blah, blah. But it kind of cracks me up because all these like Fox News talking heads and Republicans, like they shit talk the Ivy League schools, Harvard and all that, and how they're terrible. But like all of them, their kids all go there. Like Tucker, there was a thing where Tucker Carlson got a hold of, this was during the first term, but there's an email where he emailed Biden's son, Hunter Biden, asking if he could pull some strings to get his son into, I don't know if it was Harvard or Princeton. It was one of those. Yeah. But it's like, you guys shit talk these schools constantly, but you want your kids to go there. Yes. A little weird. Just a little weird. So
a little weird. They're too liberal for them. That's the problem.
Except for their kids. It's fine. It's fine for my kids to go. Well, it almost seems like they don't want their voters to be educated is what I would think. Yeah, I want my son to get a good education, but when it comes to, because like the Republican message has kind of been, you don't need college for a while. Like Charlie Kirk was spreading that shit for a while. It's like, college, you don't need college. Go to a trade school. It's like they don't want you. If you go to college, you're more likely to come out liberal than if you don't go to college. So
that's true. That's true. They got to keep their base strong.
I think you're right. So
yeah.
I got nothing left for tonight. You got anything?
I've got one more thing.
Okay.
Have you seen Mitch McConnell lately?
He's not functioning well. And I don't know if this is the clip you pulled, but at one of the hearings recently, he still runs one of the committees in the Senate, and he was like, that was our last question. We're done. And he tried to like gavel out, and then his aide had to come up to him and say, sir, actually, there's 4 people that still haven't answered or asked any questions yet. And he like didn't know, he was so confused, and the guy kept repeating, sir, you need to go to those 4 senators. And he was just looking at him like he was having a stroke. And then Trump came out. The guy who was telling him all that was one of Senator McConnell's aides. It was like his chief of staff or whatever. And Trump came out and attacked that chief of staff because he said he's probably liberal, and he was trying to make Mitch McConnell look stupid and old, and like tweeted the guy's picture and name and like doxed him.
Whoa.
Anyhow, yeah.
Whoa.
That was the last thing I saw.
He's looking really rough, and I did pull a short video. Go, Mitchie.
To buy arms from us. And all of a sudden there's a pause. What are you hearing from the Taiwanese about the pause?
Which that's not a bad question. His delivery is the problem.
I mean, come on, dude. The guy is dying. Like, get him, like, he needs to retire, spend the rest of his days at his home relaxing. Get him out of the Senate. We got Trump, who's 80. We've got Mitch McConnell, who's, I don't know, 89 years old or whatever. There are 50 of our 100 senators are 65 years or older.
Do you remember when they had the event not long ago? The designated survivor was 93-year-old Chuck Grassley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Why?
like I blame the voters here, okay? And like the fact that that Biden was trying to run again at 80, like that was a little uneasy, but I probably would have voted for him if he hadn't had that disastrous debate. I probably would have voted for him over Trump just because it's
Yeah.
against Trump.
Yeah.
But like, what are we doing here? Like the voters of Kentucky reelected Mitch McConnell 2 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, for a 6-year term, and he was barely functioning then. Remember like a year and a half ago when he was freezing, he would be like mid speech and just freeze wide eyed, and they'd have to like take him and walk him away, like his brain just stopped. Like
Yeah.
he won an election after that. What are we doing? Chuck
I mean,
Grassley.
does he have anybody running against him in Kentucky?
Well, that's the thing is nobody's going to primary him. The area he's in, he's going to win because he's the Republican on the ballot. Same with Chuck Grassley in Iowa. You would have to have somebody from the right primary him. And because Mitch McConnell has been a great fundraiser for his whole career, same with Chuck Grassley, like they'll never primary him because he brings a lot of money into the Republican National Committee that they can use on other races. That's honestly the whole reason that the Republicans wanted John Cornyn in Texas over Paxton is because John Cornyn is a great fundraiser. Like, forget all the other stuff he's done. He brings a lot of money into the party, and that's what they like. So, and that's, I don't know if you know. Well, I don't know if you know this, but like how they get committee assignments, like if you get to be the head of the Judicial Committee or the Homeland Security, whatever, like a lot of that is based off fundraising. Whoever fundraises the most gets to be the heads of committees, which is not the way it should work at all. But
no, this is crazy. Our whole system needs to be revamped.
It's in general, it's what I would call fucked up. That's how I would, So
term limits, please.
Yep. Anyhow, final thing I'm going to say is it's Friday night and we still haven't attacked Iran yet. It's like Thursday and all day today, Friday. Like I was kind of looking at it, I was going, oh shit, if we haven't announced the deal yet, maybe he's waiting for Monday morning right before the markets to announce it. But I still think there's a solid chance we go back to like actual war this weekend with Iran. I hope I'm wrong, but by the time we post this, we might be firing at Iran. I just want to throw that out there. So we'll see.
Right.
So other than that, it's late. You have a good night, buddy.
Peace. Like, subscribe.
Yes, sir. Later.
See ya.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.